What's up, man?
What's up? We get the countdown there, and we're all like, what?
Yeah, I like to stare Jack down during the countdown just to make it awkward.
Well, you look angry now, but you weren't. You
Yeah.
didn't look angry then. So I'm gonna try to arrange my mic in a way that I'm loud enough here. One thing you had, it wasn't a critique, but it was something you guys mentioned that I often, when I speak, trail off at the end of my words, my sentences. I don't finish enunciating when I speak. At the end, I kind of trail off. I think it's a redneck thing.
Yeah, you like to leave us with a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, guess what happened today?
But I think it's like I'm a down talker, so I'm going downhill. You know, it seems easier that way.
Yeah.
But I think it's because I do it in reaction to everyone who upspeaks. Have you heard about this? Upspeak?
No.
Upspeak is, and they say there may be, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings if you upspeak. They say it might be a mental thing, like a deficiency of some kind that causes people to upspeak. And so when I do this, you're going to recognize immediately. Like, do you know we're going to the gym later today? And later on we can do this, and then we're going to do that. And I went and saw Panic at the Disco, and I'm going to get my latte. And they upspeak everything they do. So I think it's like subconsciously that irritates me so much that I'm doing the opposite.
It does have like a the Valley Girl
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, Valley Girl kind of thing, but now it's a certain percentage of or demographic in the population who are socially aware. Let's say seems like a lot of the socially aware people upspeak, and they say this a lot, and they always go up when they do things. So if that's you, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make fun of you, but I'm just giving an excuse for my own deficiency by throwing it off on somebody else.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Our 4 fans, I think, requested you to hold the mic like right in this area.
Right in my face?
Yeah, so nobody can see you.
Man, my face is nice. Everybody can see. This coffee's garbage.
What kind is it?
Keurig?
Like just the Keurig brand?
I don't know. You know me and coffee. I don't know nothing about it. But I thought it's kind of chilly in the studio today.
It is.
It's kind of chilly in here, and I thought, oh, coffee would be nice and warm your pipes up.
So that way you're not down talking.
Yeah, this is trash.
Does coffee help the down talking?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
We're going to find out. Well,
Does your coffee?
I'm spoiled with coffee because my daughter is a barista. Shout out, Michaela. She's a barista at Village House Coffee. Not a sponsor. But
Yet.
You can sponsor an episode of In Case You Didn't Know.
And bring us coffee.
In case you didn't know. All right, man. So you hit me with some hard news.
Yeah. This one cuts deep.
Wait, let's have fun.
Okay.
Before
Fun
this.
first.
Let's do some fun first.
All right.
I totally spanked you in the College World Series picks.
Got beat by the guy who didn't know what an RBI was.
That's right. I still don't know.
You're not going to learn at this point.
Run, base, inning.
Run, bat it in.
That's what I said. I just pre-associated a bunch of baseball words.
Yep. Yes.
Only a 9 for 10?
Well, let's see. I've got my
Something like
list.
that.
You don't have you didn't have bring your list
I've got
to
it.
brag.
I got it. I don't know if I got it here, but I know.
So this was the Super Regionals for anybody that doesn't know.
Go for it. I'm with you.
All right. We had the Miami-Louisville game, which we both picked Louisville, which
Yep.
shout out to Louisville baseball.
Still in it?
They are still in it as of right now. They're getting ready to play in an elimination game against Oregon State. The next Super Regional was Florida State, Oregon State. That's one I got right.
Right. And I did. I think I failed that one. That's
You failed
what I
that
did.
one. So this is the only high point for me, I think. Oh, nope, I got one more. And then Arizona and North Carolina, I failed.
Yep. think
I had North Carolina.
Yep.
I had Auburn over Coastal Carolina, which right now they're undefeated
Right.
in the College World Series tournament
Who
right
knew?
now. Yeah, not me.
We got to watch that second game from them. We hung out in person.
Yes.
at Mandate.
Yep. And we got to watch baseball and golf. So where was that? Oh yeah, Coastal Carolina. Then I picked the upset, the UTSA over UCLA, which was wrong. And then Murray State got me over Duke.
Yep. I picked
Did
the
not.
Racers. Yep.
Did I was probably the most confident in that pick. We pulled up the guy with the mustache and everything on that. And Murray State though, they just got eliminated yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, I was bummed out by that.
Yeah, I'd like to have seen him make a run.
I lost $1 on that bet. Can we say that on here?
You can. Then we had West Virginia at LSU. I got West Virginia. I was trying to channel my inner Pat McAfee, and
who didn't play baseball at all?
Yeah, didn't play baseball, nothing. But he's an athletic guy.
Yeah, and West Virginia. Let's go.
Yep. And then Tennessee and Arkansas. I picked Arkansas. So you may have gotten that one wrong too, or you picked the same one.
I picked that one. Either one of those two I picked, either Florida State or Arkansas.
So.
But we don't know that. I can find out that it's on the phone.
So yeah, every competition we've had here, I have gotten destroyed. The peanut butter thing.
Oh, peanut butter challenge. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And this one was my idea, which is even worse.
Producer Jack says you need to have consequences.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she said punishment. I don't like what I'm seeing.
Well, I've got a new thing going on in my life now.
Okay.
Where I don't put stuff on people, but I invite you to.
Mm-hmm.
Someone invite you to hit the smelling salts.
And I would say, fair is fair. I'm not doing what I did last time.
No.
All right. I'm immune to it.
Oh, man. Let me try.
Yeah, not as exciting as last time. It's gotten weak. All right, Jack.
Well,
we have to think of a new.
Oh, I feel like this is that thing where, like, if you get capital punishment, like you're going to get hung at the gallows, and then they hang you, and
the rope breaks,
and the rope breaks, or you live, then. Here's what I'll say about the world's strongest smelling salts.
They got weak real quick.
They got weak on it. But it's been sealed up now.
Which, makes sense because I have to shout out to my my middle born.
Yeah, it's doable now.
We had No, my middle son, try it, and he made fun of me quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, we should buy new ones and have him.
Yeah, I think he got the week.
He got it after it was used a little bit.
Yeah. He said, "This is nothing to me,"
Yeah, that sucks. It does lose its potency pretty quick.
You can try it now, Jack.
Yeah, Jack.
It won't do nothing.
It does kind of open you up a little bit.
It does.
It won't make that coffee better.
No.
All right, we had some fun. Let's get into it. Heartbreaking.
All right. So that's not fair. I get heartbroken twice.
Yeah.
But like we said, fair is fair.
Yeah, you brought it up.
You are the baseball king as of the moment. So
right now, I am.
So I'm gonna have to win one.
I'm king of the mountain.
I thought I had you with this one before we move on.
Oh, well, today's picks are Louisville versus Oregon State again.
Yeah, I'm always going to go with Louisville.
Right, me too. So we're not going to. So the other one is UCLA?
No, it's
LSU?
it's Coastal Carolina and somebody, isn't it?
Arkansas?
No. Who's playing today? Have to look that up.
We'll find this out.
Yeah. Bear with us. But yeah, so I really thought I had you on that one. I was like, ooh, a baseball thing? I should dominate in this.
Well, you said, though, you don't follow.
I don't follow college baseball until the tournament. So.
Yep. And so.
Oh yeah, but so anyways, one heartbreak for me to another. We're gonna talk about. Oh wait. Jack is quick. All right, who's the other team? Oregon State. Ooh, I was right. I just don't remember who they're playing. Who's Coastal Carolina playing? Tonight? Oh,
so it is Arkansas and LSU. Those 5 teams are.
LSU will play the loser or the winner of Arkansas.
Oh, it is Arkansas, UCLA, and then LSU. And, okay, gotcha.
This is confusing. So Arkansas, UCLA, and Louisville, and Oregon State for the moment.
Right.
All right. Are we going to pick the same ones on this?
We may. If we do, then we're going to have to do runs over and under. So I'll probably pick Arkansas.
All right. Well, I'll go UCLA.
Okay.
So then you got U of L or Oregon State at Coastal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a tough one.
Let's do this just in case. So if U of L,
wins, they got to play Coastal Carolina.
okay, we're good. We got that.
Yeah. So, anyways, as we've attempted to talk about 3 times now,
Yeah.
The Michael Tait stuff.
Blindsided.
Yeah, cut deep. I am a massive DC Talk fan.
Yeah.
They
We both
were,
are.
yeah, probably my introduction to Christian music. That wasn't
Lame.
like, yeah, I was getting ready to name drop. Thank God I didn't.
Go ahead. Man.
Stuff my mom listened to.
Let me guess though. What your mom listened to?
Yes.
Michael W. Smith.
Yep. Which he wouldn't have been on that list as lame.
No, probably not. Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Just so yeah, I'm not a huge Stephen Curtis Chapman fan.
His new album wasn't too bad, but yeah. Yeah. So anyhow.
So I guess the allegations of there was I guess drug use and
Alcohol.
alcohol and sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Toward the same sex.
yes,
Yeah. Cut me deep.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely heartbreaking, but like I said, well, like we talked about before, we don't really want to run him in the ground or anything like
not
that.
trying to beat him up.
But I thought it did bring up a pretty good question of like why as Christians, especially Christians that are popular,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like this happens, quite often. And it's always kind of the same story of like they either hid it or there was some kind of thing where they felt like they had to hide it.
Right.
And so it just kind of begs the question of like, are we doing a bad job as Christians here?
Do you think we're doing a bad job at outing each other?
Not out and like not recognizing and like making people feel like, why did he feel like he had to hide it? I
Right.
guess in a sense,
Mhm.
because like I said, it's not just him,
Sure.
but like you see pastors and other musicians and things of that nature. This happens all the time. They hide it, and it seems like like what's the why there? I guess like why do they feel like they have to hide it when as Christians, especially for me and you, like if we mess up, I can go to you.
Right.
And vice versa, we have that accountability towards each other, even if it's something bad, and major in our lives. I still feel like I could talk to you about it.
Well, that's because we have we have a history of knowing each other's worst parts,
Yeah.
So it's for us, it's kind of that thing, You know those things about me, and I know about you, and we were there for a lot of it with each other.
In the trenches.
Sure. So there's a new thing that kids say now: is we listen and we don't judge. Have you
Oh
heard
yeah,
that?
yeah. We listen and we don't judge. Yeah.
Sometimes I eat peanut butter straight out of the jar, and if it's my jar, I double dip.
As one should.
And then you're supposed to say, we listen and we don't. But anyhow, so there's that. But, I think there's a lot at play here. I don't think it's a really easy answer. A few things that are at play. One thing is, what sin we do, we want to keep in the dark.
Yeah.
Naturally. It's just a natural.
Yeah. Sin is shameful.
Things that are done in the dark will be brought to light. That's what Scripture says, but we want to keep it in the dark.
I thought Johnny Cash said that.
Well, also, they love the darkness rather than the light. So sometimes at the moment we're choosing that over God, or that over our calling, or that over, and the other thing is we're sinners.
Mhm.
So when you told me that, my first reaction was like, oh, because we do love DC Talk.
Oh yeah.
we talked about that Jesus Freak album, not as in terms of Christian music, but in all music.
Mm-hmm.
So DC Talk Jesus Freak album, I don't put it at the top 5 of Christian albums. I put it in the top, maybe 20 of all albums of all time.
I agree.
It's just a great album.
It could possibly make my top 10.
Maybe. Yeah, depending on my mood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, we loved that album. I also loved the Supernatural album.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for us, there's that deep nostalgia, and we've been rooting for a comeback forever.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a DC Talk reunion, but
Hopefully this doesn't just completely wipe out the possibility of that.
mm-hmm.
I'm a comeback guy.
Yeah. Well, there's got to be forgiveness, right?
There has to be. Well, that's the other part. So Sunday at church, we were talking about dads,
mm-hmm.
and there's not a great string of awesome role model fathers in the Bible. David had his flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Solomon had the kingdom ripped apart. It was a long list of dads who failed. And the truth is, as dads, we fail a lot. As dads, as people, we fail all the time. So, all throughout the scriptures, you have these Michael Tait moments.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Think of Jacob and Tamar.
Well, wasn't you have to correct me if I'm wrong here. Wasn't the Noah and his son thing kind of like it wasn't just he saw his father?
Yeah, there might have been something.
There may have been
something.
He
just uncovered his father's nakedness.
Yeah.
We don't know what all that entails when you go into ancient Hebrew language and terms. That could have been a euphemistic term for something else. At the very least, he was joking at his dad being drunk and naked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's stuff in the Bible. And I don't think there's anybody that doesn't consider Noah a great patriarch still.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he got drunk naked and his kids found him. Or David. We've talked about David's failings over and over again. And they get brought up. And so I think
a lot.
What Christian who is out there in the public light, who's kind of made a name for themselves in any way or has any kind of recognition, are you not going to find? I'm not making an excuse for Michael Taiter's behavior or anything like that. Obviously, if you're in the spotlight as a Christian artist, preaching the gospel, touring, you also don't want to be using drugs and drinking and inappropriately touching people, without their consent.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he married?
I don't know. I would imagine. But...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot about that, but I do know that we put people on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bible says, for those who are teachers or those who are in the public or who have a stage or, they'll be judged more harshly. As a pastor, I'm held accountable to, I'm one who must give account.
Mm-hmm.
So do teachers and so do others. So I think as a leader, the buck stops here sometimes. So some of it's appropriate and some of it is what we put on people. And then the other side is, do we have the cancel culture in the church also? Or do we have forgiveness and say, hey, he is owned up to it. He's taken the steps to correct his own behavior. He hasn't tried to diminish it or brush it off like some other leaders have.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. He put out a statement pretty quick, that after it all came out and stuff. So
owning it too.
Yeah, and I respect that.
I do too. And there's victims that sounds like that are involved with this. So
mm-hmm.
You also have to have recognition of that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is, as a church, we have to do a good job of not covering up, like you said.
Yeah.
But also not burying people under their failures.
Yeah.
There's an appropriate amount of, all right, you take ownership of this.
Yeah, and and I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be punishment coming down from especially the misconduct allegations and stuff, and he's going to have to do the same thing and own that.
Yeah.
You know, and take whatever. But I think as Christians too, you know, we let him own it, and then
So for me, I'll be honest. When I read his statement and I read what happened, there's part of me that's like, oh, there, but for the grace of God, go I. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Because I know those times where I mess up, where I don't live up to a standard, where I've fallen short.
mhm.
And I know you're the same way too. So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a part of me where, you know, you want justice, you want things to be right, especially for people who might be victimized.
Well, yeah, like you said, the victims and stuff. You know, there's
Yeah.
got to be something done.
There's something to it.
Yeah.
But also, I know how imperfect I am and how often
Mhm.
I sin and mess up. So I think there's a. Well, I'll tell you this. There's a guy on TV. He's a TV preacher, Jimmy Swaggart,
Mhm.
and I can't even remember what his scandal was in the '80s. Some big scandal. I think it had to do with money or something. I remember him crying on TV,
Yeah.
and it was like, everybody canceled him. Everybody was like, whatever. Well, recently he's been back on TV again. And he's got his ministry going again, and my mom watches it all the time. I've not seen it, but she said he's really doing well. He's preaching. I think they said that he has been preaching longer than anyone else consecutively on TV.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know nothing about him other than that, and that he had a failure.
Mhm.
Well, now he's having some health concerns, so prayers for Jimmy Swaggart, and I saw a lot of hate online.
Yeah.
Because he did something in the '80s. I don't even remember what. And people are getting a lot of hate for it. Now, maybe rightly so. Maybe I don't know him. I don't.
Yeah. You think some of that hate though comes from maybe, you know, if he did something in the '80s, like of course we don't know the details, but like you think maybe some people think he got away with one.
That, or just, that plank eye judging
Mhm.
others kind of thing. That's what I think. So, there's a place to do rightly,
Mhm.
to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. Let's do right.
Yeah.
Michael Tait, you got to do right. And you face the consequences that naturally come from that. Do rightly, love mercy. For us who have mercy on people. For people who preach grace, a lot of times we show the least amount.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? For us who preach grace and want to receive it, we show the least amount. So do rightly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. When you see others sin, pray for them, considering yourself. Be careful lest you too fall.
Mhm.
There's this idea that, but for the grace of God, go I. Not that we're going to be going on tour and drinking too much, drugs, touching people, but
But everybody's got their
we're capable of anything.
yeah.
We're all flawed human beings. So I think all those things play into it. But I also think it's because it's the church. So this is the last thing I'll say. I know I've said like 10 reasons why. Also, I think it's the church. I think we have a standard. And I think there's, rightly so, we've had a holier than thou attitude at times. You know what I mean? Shaking our finger at the world when this stuff's going on behind our doors too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So, hey, you know what I mean? What do we talk about this Christian idea of karma?
Yeah.
Talking about the plank in our own eye and our speck in our brother's eye, and we got a plank in our own. And so some of that I think it's called on ourselves because we're the church. So there's a higher standard. And people expect more of a higher standard. But there's stuff going on in schools right now, like a string of teachers who are having relationships with their
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But like a Catholic church with the priest thing
Yeah.
that was so often covered up, this kind of thing, churches who have pastors who are doing things which they know they shouldn't do, or taking money, taking bribes, having inappropriate relationships, all those things swept under the rug. You know what I mean? That stuff compounds. It doesn't make it better to hide things. It compounds it. It festers. It grows.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. That's my answer to that. But yeah, I pray for him. I pray
Oh
for
yeah, absolutely.
the grace of God on him
Yeah.
and for if anybody else has really been victimized by it or hurt by it, pray for them also. And really, the black eye the gospel gets from it. I think that's one thing. May I not live to where I give the image of Christ a black eye.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of the nature of the beast, I guess. When Christians, it being such a big religion, you see it all through the Bible too. People are trying to use it just for the power and.
Well, it's like this, what we're doing right here. We don't do this as a really a spiritual thing at all.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing this just because we're friends.
Yep.
I like fun. I said my whole purpose was to entertain you. But it's because it's part of our life that it goes to these territories. And so, it's tough for us to, what if we want to talk about this or do this? Well, we have to be considerate of what kind of witness does it show? You know what I mean?
Yeah, normally, like I said, we kind of surprise each other with what we have, and this was one I was like, I don't want to, and I really would have surprised you with this.
Yeah.
So
it would have surprised me.
Yeah.
I didn't know it, so I'm glad you did because I was like, give me a minute to process it.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a deep.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh,
throw that out. Well, I think in the future you have my permission, but it was a good thing. I'm going to spring some stuff on you though. So just to transition a little bit, the way the world kind of is going, and then so there's an idea that we have a lot of times. I don't think it's just Christians, but the church is bad about it. About things are worse now than they've ever been. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Kids these days. Have you heard this? And I bet we hear things about how kids' parents were reacting to Elvis and he's shaking his hips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've got like Megan Thee Stallion or whatever her name is out there now. In my time, we didn't have this. Well, we had the Humpty Dance when we were kids,
Oh, yeah.
We had some stupid stuff, too. It's always like it's worse now than it ever had been. And I think sometimes we need to really frame that with a measure of truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So right now there's this idea that the church is being persecuted more than it had been in the past. And I think you really need to look at your history books when you say things like that and see how it was in Christ's day.
Yeah.
And after, under Diocletian and these emperors. And even in feudal Japan, when the church was first coming in and proselytizing there.
Oh, yeah.
In feudal Japan.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's not true with America.
It's not true in America right now.
Yeah, like persecution, you don't see persecution in America like you do overseas or like you did back in the Bible.
So,
or history.
I was going to ask you about, what do you think about doomsday religion?
What do you mean by doomsday? Like
Doomsday religion.
Like scaring people into
faith or into converting or into action, anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's something that doesn't last. I think it's a neat trick you can pull out for in the moment.
Right.
To scare somebody. We joke about the method. I always joke about the Methodist car, the van.
Yeah, the Methodist van. Yeah.
And that just to explain. A lot of times we go to church, and we grew up in a Methodist church. That one of our pastors was always like to say, like, where are you going to go whenever, if you walk out of here and you get hit by a van, where are you going to spend eternity?
Right.
So, there was always a fear, we could joke about it, but there's always that fear of like, oh, what if I do die when I leave here? What if that van comes around the corner and kills me? Would I go to hell?
The Methodist van comes and I hit and I didn't go to the altar. Repent of all these things I could think of.
Yeah, I always have a joke of that. I can't tell you how many times I got saved.
Yeah.
In that church. My mom...
this revolving role.
Yeah, I remember one time, I didn't even realize it until I told my mom one time. I was like, oh, I got saved. She was like, I thought that happened a while back. Well, I wasn't serious about that. It was, And that seemed to be the theme was like, with the doomsday stuff, was like, the van would scare you Sunday, in the Sunday afternoon, maybe Sunday evening, maybe even a little bit on Monday. Yeah. But, Tuesday, Wednesday roll around, and it's like, or even Friday and Saturday, especially, like, you're not thinking about that van.
The van kind of disappears until the preacher hits it on.
Yeah, then you're like, oh crap.
I gotta get to the altar
Yeah.
again. Or you messed up some way through the week, and you're like,
And I think it kind of paints a bad picture of God too. Like it does. We talked about it a little bit Sunday too. I think kind of gives that like God's waiting to just bash you on the head with a
Right.
stick kind of thing when you mess up.
we mixed that Greek mythology in there where he's got like lightning bolts.
Yeah,
He's ready to strike us down.
yeah, he's pulling out his inner Zeus on
Yeah.
us or something.
Yeah, he's ready to strike us dead, and I think that's how I felt about it. So I think there's some manipulation going on there, and for me, I've always said that preaching about hell is you're telling the truth. There's a hell. There's consequences to sin. That we are dead in sin as we are now, but we're under condemnation as it is. Apart from Christ, and those things are true. But turn or burn kind of preaching.
Yeah,
I think what you're saying. It's not a great way to build faith
yeah,
or to invite someone into the place of faith. And so I have been thinking about our whole lives have been one existential crisis after the next.
hmm
So for us, I graduated in year 2000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Y2K.
Y2K. We were going to be the last, the last graduating class ever because the world was going to end, and that's how it was going to go. And so, you remember on the year 2000 New Year's?
hmm I was with you.
Yeah, we were hanging out, and we thought, well, let's watch this clock go, and I guess we're going to die.
Yeah.
That's the way the world's going to end. We didn't know computers were going to crash or anything like that. And so it was just this scenario. The next thing was 9/11 happened.
Yeah, that was right after I graduated.
Yeah, 9/11 happened. And then, but before that, they were talking about global warming.
hmm
Back then, they said a greenhouse effect was going to kill us all.
Yeah.
By the early 2000s, the sea levels were going to rise. Things were going to start happening. That didn't happen that way. But that was some existential crisis that they were pushing on us. And I feel like these things they push in order to, by fear, motivate a certain response.
hmm
And there's always the next existential crisis. There's always the next one. And it makes us okay with whatever reaction that they do because it's for our benefit, right? You can go right down the list from 9/11, which, okay, 3,000 people died in 9/11. It's
Yep.
a terrible thing. But now we're at war for the next 20 years where 900,000 people died. And we're supposed to be okay with this because this was an existential crisis. It was a threat.
Yeah.
To our, our nation, to our people, our culture. I remember them saying things like our economy was going to tank so bad we can never recover.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. And so we have 20 years now of war that was a response to that. And you can add whatever else you want to add to that. COVID,
there's a recession.
a recession.
The Mayan.
Yeah.
The Mayan thing.
2012, the Mayan
2012,
calendar. All these things, it's just like... And I remember having, even before this as a kid, the Nostradamus kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, we just watched something like that with my dad not that long ago.
Yeah, that
All the
Pope thing.
predictions. Yeah. Yeah, the last pope. We shouldn't even have a pope right now, right?
Right.
So.
And I know things are going on in the world right now with Israel and Iran. And I'm not trying to make light of any of these things.
hmm
But I want us to also frame them in the context of God is sovereign. Right? And the Christian faith is not a faith of doom and gloom and hellfire and brimstone. It's of life and hope and joy and peace in the face of death and suffering and the hardships of life, the troubles that we go through, the temptations we face. It's not that they don't exist or they're not real. Suffering is life.
Yeah.
We know this.
hmm
But we have abundant life through Jesus Christ our Lord. And so even you read like the book of Revelation, and people read the book of Revelation and they're like, this end times doom and gloom, left behind
Yeah.
idea of what the book of Revelation is. And it was written to the church to encourage them during persecution and suffering in one of its worst times in history.
Yep.
And so not to make light of their suffering or the suffering we have now, or the suffering we may face, or the wars that are in the world, or people going hungry, or I'm not saying there isn't things going on in our climate, that we need to be aware of and be good stewards of. But to use that as a way to manipulate or to justify certain actions, I think for a Christian, if you stand in the place of faith, you need to be more resilient to that kind of manipulation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And so what I was going to bring to you was the next doom and gloom thing that we need to face is the AI God.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? AI God?
Yes, I think I've mentioned it before. AI is the one thing that kind of frightens me.
Yeah.
It does.
Too many Terminator movies.
Yep, too many too many Terminator movies, but
T-1000 busting the door.
but also just the way I watch some AI videos of some sports guys I like and stuff, and they can really manipulate what they say, and that's what scares me the most about it.
Yeah.
On the serious side of it, that is what scares me about it, because you can make a video where anybody could say it. You could start wars this way.
Mm-hmm.
You could start a lot of stuff. You know,
right now, if you know what to look for, you can spot things. It's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, they're getting better at it.
So I saw a video from 2023 compared to LeBron compared to a video today. Oh, miles of difference. Now they put out videos with no actors.
Yeah, I saw that.
And no film.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all AI, and it's pretty good. And so I think, so the idea is AI God is that AI will reach a point where it transcends our thinking and understanding and becomes a higher power to people. I know I'm getting laughs here, snickers, but you know who else thought this could happen?
Nostradamus?
Elon Musk.
Oh!
Same thing.
Didn't
Nostradamus, Elon. Yeah.
Yeah, the same guy.
Yeah, he couldn't foresee his and Trump's
breakup.
Yeah. Poor Elon on his pillow right now. Trump.
Yep.
You know they call him Taco?
Who?
Trump?
No.
Yeah, the new name for Trump is Taco Trump. Taco.
Because of the immigration stuff, or?
I'm trying to remember. Can't remember what taco stands for. Like all talk and no action or something like that.
Oh.
I can't remember what the taco thing was about. Everybody call him Taco. Hope it's not inappropriate. If it is, I'm sorry.
Yep. Oops.
I thought it was because he's orange.
Oh, yeah. Like a Doritos Loco taco, yeah.
What's that? The Doritos Locos?
It's, from Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's Loco, right? Doritos Loco. Loco.
I don't eat it, so I don't know. But, so back to AI God, yeah. So Elon said that by 2030, he thought that AI would surpass human intelligence. That gives us 6 years, 5 years?
Yep.
That by the time we reach 2030, AI will surpass human intelligence. That's his prediction. And so he's also one that said that he thought AI was the largest threat to human existence.
Mm-hmm.
This is our existential crisis, he said.
Yeah. Well, you always hear the horror stories of the computers, and it starts, learning and stuff, and then that's when the Terminator stuff kind of comes.
Yeah, that's where it comes to play. So here's my thing. I think that if AI becomes a problem, it's not going to be T-1000.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to bomb us. They're not going to fight us. It's not going to be robots beating us up in the streets. It's going to be that they shut down the internet. Yeah,
that'd be devastating.
Turns off the bank account. You know what I mean? It hacks into your car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if AI did get to the point where it's going against mankind or humanity in some way, it'll be because we have fed it programming for the last 15 years saying that AI is a threat to humanity.
Yeah.
So if you're teaching this thing by algorithms on how it should interpret its progress, as an entity or whatever, and it does get to some self-aware place,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be because it's inherently evil. It's because we've been feeding it knowledge and content over decades of how this is its inevitable goal. It's to subvert humanity in some way. My thinking is, as far as with every other existential threat, it's still subject to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's not AI God. Whether people think it gets to some singularity where it's like a deity, it's not greater than God.
Yeah.
It doesn't surpass the Almighty. There's one true God. I'm not going to start worshiping at the Hewitt Packard computer. Dell.
I never thought about it that way. I'm kind of disappointed we're not going to have to fight like skeleton robots.
Yeah, it's unlikely. I mean, they shut down the power
They'll just
grid.
shut down our Wi-Fi and get it.
Exactly.
What a horrible Terminator movie.
Yesterday, our internet provider sent us a new modem.
Mm-hmm.
And Wi-Fi tower. And so I go to set this thing up, and it took me ridiculous. But the internet was down for...
You'll be the first to go.
Yeah. The internet was down for maybe 2 hours. And I get people coming in my room, the internet's down, what do we do? What do we do? Go outside, read a book, draw a picture, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm working on it. It's getting back up,
Yeah, our youngest son fixed our Wi-Fi because we weren't home. We were at a friend's house, and our Wi-Fi went off, and I didn't even know he still lived there because, he's just always in his room and, on his phone and stuff.
See?
And, yeah, he calls and is like, oh, the Wi-Fi's out. And, like,
Who is this?
somehow he figured out how to fix it without us. Like, all of a sudden, the guy that can't make chicken nuggets or something by himself can fix the Wi-Fi.
He's your IT guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm yelling in this podcast. So if you go to edit this, and I'm like,
Stop yelling at me.
you'll be all right. But, yeah, it's like, it's not going to be some hostile takeover. They're going to make it like you can't use your debit card at Walmart. We're going to be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
We can't buy or sell. We don't
Then that's Revelation. Can't buy yourself
Come
without the AI, Mark.
AI is the Antichrist.
Yep.
The number of the beast is binary code.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm still just disappointed. Like that would be a horrible movie.
Oh, yeah.
Terminator, you have no Wi-Fi.
Ah! Some voice in the other room. I can't watch Friends.
Yeah.
Where's our streaming Call of Duty now? But that'd be likely it.
It
All
makes
these
sense.
cars,
It makes sense. Yeah.
every Tesla on the road just shuts down. You know what I mean? The planes can't go nowhere. You can't bank. All the shipping is done through these computer systems. All it takes is a crash of the computer, EMP.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has the same threat as AI. Why would they build robots to come after us when they just turn things off?
You just hit a button.
Most people on the earth, if you turn off the internet and turn off the power, useless.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it would destroy our family probably.
You've been watching Duck Dynasty, right? Your kids have?
Noah has, yeah.
Yeah. There's a simplicity to life for him. Oh, there's no grocery store. I'll go eat some frogs out of the swamp.
Yeah.
I'll
go get a duck.
Most people are not thinking about eating frogs or squirrels or any of that stuff. They'll turn their nose up at it.
Yep. Until they need it.
Exactly. Grocery store goes down.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
They'll be looking for Uncle Si.
growing a beard,
Yep.
start wearing camo. But yeah, I think that's kind of more the line of what is the next big doomsday thing that is going to distract us and get our eyes off God, and get our fears wound up, and make it okay for them to impose anything on us that they want to. Like I said, I'm not a big conspiracy guy. Facts is facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Facts are facts. So, I thought that was interesting anyhow.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really think about that. Now, I won't be able to sleep.
There is a book out there called AI God. I've not read it. But
Who wrote it?
But when I was kind of studying this out for what we're going to talk about, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I remember people talking about worshiping the spaghetti monster.
I've never heard of the
Never
spaghetti.
heard this either?
No.
There's a whole cult of people who worship the great spaghetti monster. I'm trying to remember what that was about. But maybe next podcast. We'll
Yeah.
figure that out.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
So if they'll worship the spaghetti monster,
And his evil sidekick, breadstick.
oh yeah, or meatballs.
Or garlic bread, yeah, or meatball. Maybe they're a whole crew.
I think you're right. Breadstick is probably like bread.
A garlic breadstick.
If you had the meatball, it'd be like a spaghetti trinity.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what else you got. But I got one more thing.
Are we ready for my thing, or? Right. So, how was your Father's Day?
It was good. It was good. We had church, and then you and I went to the juvenile detention center.
Mhm.
That was great.
That was, yeah.
I was going to tell you, I thought that was one of the.
Oh, yeah, the best response.
They were engaged,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fun. So that was a good day. And then we went to Brandy's parents. The kids swam. We just hung out. Good time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you get anything nice?
Well, the kids took me out on the Paul, got some Mexican food,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was appreciative of that. Peyton was at work, and so when she got home from work, she had bought me more beef sticks.
Oh, nice.
So I got a lot of beef sticks on Father's Day, and she got me some sugar-free goodies. Is that Frank Zappa?
Oh, yeah. That's where we're going.
Okay, so she got me some beef sticks and some snacks and a Hot Wheel car.
Oh,
So it was good.
sweet.
I hit some golf balls. Not bad.
Heck yeah, we did, we had Flip Daddies. So I had a burger.
Flip Daddies. You went to a daddy place.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Flip Daddy.
Flip Daddies.
But I've got a hat I've yet to receive. So, uh-oh, we're not going to be able to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, keeping talking.
Use this. No, you're in the wrong one. You're in advance. Flip Daddies, so sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, Flip Daddies had some burgers. Noah got me little mini UFC fighters because they came in the packaging was a punching bag.
Okay.
So you crack open the punching bag and you get a little UFC fighter, and then you get an accessory where you can build your own octagon, so you get a piece at a time. So I got a couple of those. Nate got me a book about a train robber. So
Oh, nice.
like old school Western train robber.
Into
So
that.
yeah, I'm definitely excited to read it.
It sounds like dad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just had Father's Day, and I was thinking, as a father, there's nothing more manlier than, a good mustache, right?
We've talked about mustaches.
Yeah. So, keep talking. Are you ready? Good Lord. So,
You think we should shave our beard into mustaches?
I think we should for at least one
I'm
episode.
gonna look funny.
Yeah. I think.
You got a manly stash.
Mhm.
Mine doesn't grow here.
But yeah, no, I got this cool hat. It's got like a little 4 fist bumping. And it's got all the kids' names on it. It's got the little American flag on it and stuff. So, very nice hat. But
Good deal. Yeah. I had some prime rib on Sunday.
oh, nice.
It was good, and then Pam made that, and then
Shout out to Pam.
I got told that I looked a lot younger than you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So that made me feel pretty good.
You didn't even get me nothing for Father's Day.
One boy
Look.
said, "I thought that was your dad."
Yeah, look, what I think happened was this was the detention center. These young punks that we love.
Yeah.
I think we always talk about you have the cheat code because you play guitar. I think they were just sucking up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what happened was would they ask you how old you were?
He asked me.
And he guessed 30 something.
30s, in the 30s, yeah.
Yeah, and you're 43.
I'm 43.
And then they asked me, and I said 42, and they go, "How are you younger?"
Yeah. We thought you was older. And then the one kid,
Yeah.
being smart, like said, "I thought you was his dad."
Yeah, so
So yeah, I should have said Happy Father's Day.
you should have. Yeah,
I
I got some beef sticks though, so I'm good.
I will call you daddy from now.
Yeah. I think you should.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie though, knowing that they were full of it and they were just, it still made my day.
Well, I think we discovered it's the gray.
It is the great.
It's the gray.
Yeah.
That my daddy blessed me with.
You inherit it.
Yeah.
We were talking about traits you inherit from your father,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that led into some of it. I was talking about my kids and some of my kids being their age or a little older,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Oh, how old are you?" And that's kind of what led into that whole conversation. Well, she needs a little bit more time. We can talk about my thing.
Yeah. Sounds like it, right?
So, did you know that there is a saint in the Catholic Church who is a samurai?
Maybe.
Samurai saint.
Is this the same? Have you sent me something on this guy?
I
think?
may have,
Maybe.
but I might have saw something of it, but I kind of read about it and read it out.
So you know more
Mhm.
about? Okay.
So this was he lived in like the late 1500s into the early 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
His name was, I don't want to get this wrong,
I don't think
Justo?
he'll.
Takayama.
Oh, that's it. I believe you.
Justo Takayama. And he lived around the late 1500s. I think he died around 1650, about this time. And so his dad was a samurai, and his dad came to faith, and so he accepted Christ at a young age, like 12.
His dad or him?
Him.
Okay.
And they were really persecuted for their faith, and so at some point he kind of put it aside and picked up the Bushido samurai way.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so there was a lot of persecution for the church in Japan in this time frame. And so as he grew older, he rededicated his life to Christ and put aside, because there's some discrepancies between Christian faith, Christian lifestyle, honor, those kind of things, and the Bushido samurai lifestyle. They're not compatible. And so he set aside the samurai to live for Christ, and because of it, he was exiled, persecuted, exiled, could have been put to death. And so he led this life of serving Christ. In fact, suffering his whole lifestyle, changing everything that he stood for, everything that he lived for, everything that he was, denied himself, lived for Christ, and again suffered consequences of it. They exiled him to, I think, Milan. He ended up dying in his 60s, I think, at age 63,
Mm-hmm.
in exile from Japan in Milan. And so because of his exile and his persecution of his faith and everything he suffered in his life, under Pope Benedict, they started the process to become a saint. I'm trying to remember what they called it. Whatever it was. But it didn't actually happen until Pope St. Francis, or not Francis, Pope, not St. Francis, Francis, Pope Francis. He was sainted in 2016.
Really?
So now you have a samurai saint.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome. I'm like, this is a movie I'd watch.
Oh, absolutely.
So I thought that was really cool.
What's crazy is like a Christian samurai to the Japanese people is exiled.
Right.
To us, it's like this is a guy we have to hang out with.
This is
Yeah.
This is
We'd have to have him on the podcast.
I'd love it. Well, and it goes back to like in the late 80s, early 90s, American culture loved everything Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
Far Eastern, It was like the coolest thing. And so I think part of that plays into like the fascination there. I remember my brothers had shurikens and katanas and these, we all loved ninjas and Bloodsport was really big.
That's my movie.
Um,
I had a sweet pair of nunchucks.
Nunchaku. Well, even when I got a little older, I love it's not Japanese, it's Chinese, but all the Jackie Chan films.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody that does their own stunts to that level,
Yeah.
respect.
And the overdubbing was so bad
Yeah.
in those movies, but they're great. But there was a time period in Japan where it was like the persecution for the church was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a movie called Silence. It's got Spider-Man in it, Andrew Garfield,
Oh, okay.
and it's not a feel-good movie, but it's a good movie, man. About just how they were persecuted, hunted down, they were murdered, they were killed, they were martyred, their families were martyred. How it, sometimes it wasn't this beautiful face story where they stood up against, those oppressors and kept their faith and died for their faith. Sometimes it was like they recanted their faith. They were tortured. Their family were tortured, and they struggled with the reality of having denied Christ at this moment and what that meant for their faith. And so I recommend Silence for anybody. You're not gonna, have sunshine and rainbows in your heart afterward, but it's a good movie, and it's these Jesuit priests that risked their life to go into the mission field, into this time frame in Japan that was, brutal, and go against this system of life with the truth of the gospel. And if they had not, then this person would not have existed.
Yeah.
This samurai. He wasn't the only samurai.
Just this might be a throw you off, or might not throw you off, or whatever. But what's he the saint of? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know if I don't know if they said that.
And that does he? If you're a saint, you have to be a saint of.
Yeah, you travel.
Yeah, something.
Saint of people who own puppies, all kinds of stuff. I don't know.
The saint of the katana.
Oh yeah, yeah. Saint of the katana. Yeah, I don't know. Good one. I'll have to find that out.
Yep.
We'll
Next time for episode number 9.
Yeah, I thought that was totally cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
So, any samurai stories I'm into anyhow. Last Samurai is like my favorite movie
Mm-hmm.
of all time, and so it was a story that fascinated me. I knew you'd like it too.
Are you ready now? All right. So, since we were talking about the Father's Day thing before, but then we moved on to the Saint Samurai. So, circle back to Father's Day. Like I said, so I thought it'd be fun, a post Father's Day bracket.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
who has the best mustache
Yes.
out of this group of people?
Oh, right.
And it looks like that's Zappa, right?
Frank Zappa.
Sam Elliott. So that's round 1.
Dude, it's hard to deny Sam Elliott.
I was going to say the same thing. It's Sam by a landslide, right? This is your 1 versus 16, kind of matchup.
I think as far as culture goes.
Yeah. Well, and the voice, too, to go with it.
Oh, yeah. I can't get that low.
No.
Ooh.
So then we got Teddy.
Oh, you're trying to get side by side. That's
Yeah.
right. There you go. Okay.
So we have Teddy Roosevelt. Is that Superman?
Yeah, Henry Cavill.
Oh, man. See if we pick the same all the way through.
Well, you know I'm picking for this.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same page on this one.
Yeah, it's got to be Teddy all the way.
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt all the way. I think just for the, probably the best example of a man.
Dude, he was a man.
Yeah.
He was a man.
Fought people in the White House.
Also, I read a book called, and he wrote it, or at least had a ghostwriter, called Through the Brazilian Rainforest by Teddy Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that guy is a man. And he said in that book, he was like, other people who explore or go into other countries, they go in. He said they go in on the trail other people have blazed.
Yeah.
And he said, until you go in, first one in, you're not exploring. So, Teddy's my guy. But
Yeah. Well, I said he's the manliest guy on this list, but I forgot about this one. So now we have Ron Swanson, Nick Offerman himself, versus,
Jeremy
just the beautiful man.
Hellman. Yeah, I'll tell you my pick on this since you can't really.
Oh, I'm picking.
Okay, I picked Jeremy all day long.
I picked me too.
I'll tell you why. Ron Swanson's an idea. He's a character. He
Yeah.
doesn't exist. He's not a real man. I know Jeremy. Real man, works on trains.
That's right.
Man plays drums. Raises 3 boys.
I was really nervous if I could beat Nick Offerman. Because I was going to have to go up against this guy.
Yeah.
And I chose Nick Offerman over
You'd still win.
Hulk Hogan. Yep, so we got Hulk Hogan.
No, wait a minute, I'm not done.
Oh, sorry. Keep it up. Keep it up.
This man's manliness strain is so strong, his progeny are all male.
Yeah.
All right, I can go. Yeah, Ron Swanson's a fake character played by.
I made the right choice then.
And the only thing he's got going for him is he's a woodworker.
Mm-hmm.
Like
For real.
Nick Offerman,
Yeah.
in real life he is.
Offerman Woodshop.
Yeah, Offerman woodshop. And so he's got that going for him. But he worked on train mechanic,
Mhm.
welder, drummer. Got my vote.
All right. We got Hulk Hogan
Hulk.
and Freddie Mercury.
Ready. This is a tough one.
Easy, don't get ahead of yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, how about
I just
tough?
got pregnant.
I picked Hulk. The wrestling runs deep in our family also. So,
Yeah. I can see that. The only thing I would say about Freddie is he did overcome some stuff to,
Yeah.
But, and he had great pipes.
oh yeah, excellent.
As far
singer.
as talking about manliness, though,
Yeah.
I think even he himself would say
Hulk Hogan
Hulk Hogan.
was the man when I was growing up. That's
Yeah.
who everybody wanted to be.
Hulksters. And he had a
You
cartoon.
got the.
I'll go with Hulksters.
All right.
I would say Iron Sheik, actually.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
He had a better
Yeah.
mustache.
We should have found him. We got Bert and Tom.
Where's Ernie? This is actually a tough one.
Yeah, I know who I'm gonna pick, but this was definitely the toughest matchup.
All right. You want 3, 2, 1 this one? Because I think we're actually
All right.
different. 3, 2, 1. Tom.
Tom.
Selleck.
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
you picked Tom also.
Yep.
I thought you were going with Bert.
No, as much as I love like Smokey and the Bandit and stuff like that, Blue Bloods.
Oh, Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
That's what did it for you, not
Mhm.
Magnum PI. Yeah.
Well, it's just about this guy, and he's kind of got that like in the show Blue Bloods. He's kind of got that Teddy Roosevelt, no nonsense.
Didn't he look more manly, though? I mean, even in this picture, didn't you see, like...
Well, I mean, you got that.
Yeah, but...
His is hidden a little
yeah, his
bit.
top
Yeah.
on me. Well, yeah. They both got tag on. Hey, I'll tell you this, though. I don't choose Tom Selleck because of Blue Bloods or Magnum PI. I choose him because
Quickly Down Under, yeah.
Quickly Down Under. Great movie.
Or the Sackets. You remember? Have you seen that one?
I do, yes.
Mhm.
Tom Selleck is my pick. I have seen like an episode of Blue Bloods, but I need to look into that. He always does this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Blue
If you have
Bloods.
a mustache, you need to.
And Blue Bloods, yeah, he always has that like he always having that rough day being the commissioner. It's just like.
Yeah, you do it good. You got a good stash, though.
That's who I inspire to be like.
Oh.
Yeah, with the mustache. If I'm ever rocking the mustache, that's what I want to look.
Is that all?
We can go for. So now that we've seen though, you got. Tom's going to have to get a bye to the final round, I think, just because. So you got Sam Elliott and Teddy Roosevelt in the next matchup.
I'm still picking Teddy, dude.
Me too.
And then,
And then you got me and Hulk Hogan. Which
I pick you.
all right, I'll pick me too. Because I think this is where I stop.
I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, Teddy.
Teddy
I think
takes it.
it's Teddy versus Tom, right?
It's Teddy versus Tom.
And I still think Teddy, yeah.
Teddy on that, man. Yeah. So, in my mind, though, the only one who may get an honorable mention,
Mm-hmm. Besides the Iron Sheik,
besides the Iron Sheik, is Super Mario.
Super Mario, not
Again,
Luigi.
Fictional character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in there.
Pull up a picture of I think it's Raleigh Fingers.
Is that who we talked about? Oh, this is
This is a if you're doing an honorable mention, this would be mine. Baseball player. You know, that sport I know so much about.
you do, except for
Yeah, except for college.
picking
Yeah.
wins.
Yeah,
I think God does it to keep you humble.
he does. As he should.
Just one in the face.
Yeah.
Raleigh Fingers. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the old school baseball guy right there. Pitcher. But he had the little Captain Hook thing going on.
That's something else.
Yeah.
Well, these are actually great mustaches. What about, let's do this then. Okay, so I think Teddy wins. Or not.
Yeah, I think so. Just for the fact of not just having a good mustache, but just being a man.
Overall, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being a man.
Who's that book that you had that had the guy stand like this? He had a good mustache. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, it was Stephen Mansfield's Book of Manly Men, I believe.
Right.
Had that guy.
That guy, when you think of manly men, you get like Teddy in your mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'd imagine Teddy probably boxed like that too.
I'm sure
He had that.
Yeah. And he also, we didn't talk about, Steve Harvey.
Yeah. Danny Glover didn't make it either.
Danny Glover didn't make
Oh.
it, Steve Harvey. But Wyatt Earp didn't get in there either.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Sam Elliott beats Wyatt.
Yeah, well, I would say the people that made it to the later rounds, they wore the mustache.
Yeah. They were.
You
It was
know,
consistent.
yeah,
part of their
like
life.
Danny Glover didn't always have a mustache.
You're right. Yeah.
Stuff
And
like that.
as far as Steve Harvey, his mustache doesn't make him a man. You know, this is that you got to have the whole package.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Father's Day you said. So.
Yeah.
Not saying he's not, but I think you put him up against people like Sam Elliott,
Or this Jeremy.
this Jeremy dude.
Yeah.
You went further than I thought.
I did. I just went with it.
You went deep in the bracket.
I'll have Hulk Hogan or something.
I feel like I gave good reasons, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just your.
I'm not going to argue with
Yeah,
you.
well.
So,
It wasn't just a man crush. It was that there was actual good reason.
yeah.
But
I was worried about beating Hulk Hogan. We should have him on the podcast.
Hulk, I mean,
Yeah.
come on,
We should
dude.
just call him up.
He
Yeah.
probably would.
He's a Christian dude now. So,
He probably come on. You know who's got a righteous mustache when he grows it though? James Hetfield.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'd have him on. Yeah. Sam Elliott though, not only was he the beef that's supposed for dinner guy, he killed Hitler and Bigfoot.
Yeah. We're going to get to watch this here in a couple months, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm excited
The
about
man who
that.
killed Hitler and Bigfoot. Also, let's do this real quick. And we don't have to pull these out, Jack. Worst mustache.
Oh, worst?
So we can start this list out real quick. Hitler,
Yeah.
worst mustache.
I think you could put Michael Jordan on there because he rocked the Hitler mustache there for a while.
Michael Jordan. What's the dude, Gomez Adams?
Gomez Adams.
Yeah, didn't he have just...
Oh, the little, yeah. That was the style back then, though,
Yeah.
I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, bad mustaches. You can put Coy on here.
Oh, man.
Worst mustaches in history? This is a good list, but...
Yeah, I feel like this is a hard list to come up with because people that have bad mustaches more than likely are not going to grow them.
Yeah. Sometimes
So,
they do, though.
yeah.
I think Hitler wins this, though.
Yeah.
He's Hitler.
Yeah.
Worst,
Nobody.
maybe the worst of all.
Well, and plus, like I said, nobody can wear that mustache.
Yeah.
You can't. You
At one
can't
point, it was
rock that.
popular. Like,
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin had it,
Exactly. Yeah.
and nobody said boo. Oh. Yeah, who didn't make the list here?
There's a lot of people we probably left off. Sorry, fellow mustache growers.
Groucho Marx?
Yeah. But yeah, he definitely wins.
Yeah.
that bracket because, like I said, you just can't. You can't rock the Hitler mustache
And
or
people
the
can't
Charlie
see,
Chaplin.
But Jack's got a big mustache. Sorry.
Sorry, my boys like to tease her about that,
Tony trumps everything.
saying that's where they get their facial hair from.
Some people need facial hair.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jack. I'm saying some people need it.
Yeah, you look good shaved. So, yeah, I think I'm one of those people.
Oh, they got to eat it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
I get
Brandy
the,
the other day that I was going to shave it. She said no.
Yeah, I get the chubby face and like there's not much of a chin.
Yeah, if you think people think I look young now, wait till I shave this off. And then I keep it tight though because it's gray. But,
Yeah. A lesson I should have learned
Yeah.
before going around teenagers.
I saw a picture of somebody superimposed a beard on Trump.
Yeah?
That dude should grow one.
Is it the one with his head shaved too?
Yeah.
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 Trump, if you listen to this,
Yeah, go for it, man.
yeah, shave it.
Shave it, grow the beard.
Or a good mustache.
Just the mustache.
Yeah.
It's coming back. People are going with it. Every time you shave your beard and leave the stash, you send me a picture.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent.
Always. There's framed pictures in your house, right? I can't think of any better way to end that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Hey, congrats on that. It's like almost runner up on that.
I know what I'm taking third, right?
Yeah.
It's Teddy,
Behind Tom Selleck
Tom Selleck, and me.
and Jamie. And honestly, I can't think of off the top of my head better stashes on manlier guys. So. All right, man. Thanks.
Woo. You're too good to me.